In 1967, the heart of Africa caught fire, and the world watched, often in silence, as a young nation bled. This is not just a history lesson. It's a profound journey into the depths of human suffering and the soaring heights of resilience. Prepare to witness a story of betrayal, unimaginable loss, and the enduring strength of a people who refuse to be extinguished. Nigeria, barely 7 years old, a vibrant tapestry woven from diverse cultures, stood at a precipice. The dream of unity, born from the euphoria of independence in 1960, was already fraying. 3 great regions, the North, the West, and the East, each with its own proud heritage and fierce ambitions, now shared one flag, but not always one vision. Beneath the surface of this nascent nation, old wounds festered, deepened by colonial legacies and new political rivalries. Ethnic tensions, fueled by competition for power and resources, began to overshadow the promise of a shared future. The delicate balance of a multi-ethnic state was proving far more challenging than anyone had anticipated. The Igbo people of eastern Nigeria, known for their entrepreneurial spirit and deep value for education, thrived in this new landscape. Their drive and intellect saw many rise to prominent positions in government, commerce, and academia across the country. This success, however, inadvertently sowed seeds of resentment. Envy grew, morphing into suspicion and fear among other ethnic groups. The perception of Igbo dominance, whether real or imagined, became a dangerous narrative. This simmering discontent created a volatile atmosphere, ready to ignite with the slightest spark. The stage was set for a tragic unraveling. January 1966 brought the first spark. A group of young, idealistic army officers, predominantly Igbo, staged a coup. Their stated aim was to cleanse the nation of corruption and tribalism to forge a truly unified Nigeria. Yet, the execution was tragically flawed and deeply divisive. Key political and military leaders from the North and West were killed, while many Igbo leaders were spared. This imbalance fueled accusations of an Igbo coup, shattering any hope of national reconciliation. The coup, intended to unite, instead ripped the fragile fabric of Nigeria apart, leaving a trail of suspicion and fear. 6 months later, in July 1966, a brutal counter-coup erupted, led by northern officers seeking revenge. This was not merely a change of power. It was a terrifying descent into targeted violence. What followed was a dark chapter of massacres, a systematic campaign of terror against the Igbo. Thousands of Igbo men, women, and children living in northern Nigeria were hunted down, beaten, tortured, and killed in horrific pogroms. Their homes were looted, their businesses destroyed. The streets ran red with blood, and the air was thick with the cries of the innocent. It was an ethnic cleansing that shocked the conscience. The scale of the atrocities was staggering, forcing a mass exodus. Trains and trucks, overflowing with traumatized survivors, streamed back to the eastern region. These were not just refugees, they were broken souls, carrying the indelible scars of unimaginable violence and betrayal. Their stories painted a grim picture of a nation that had turned on its own. The East, overwhelmed by the influx of its brutalized people, could take no more. The federal government's inability or unwillingness to protect its Igbo citizens, coupled with the sheer barbarity of the pogroms, left them with a stark choice. They felt abandoned, their very existence threatened within the Nigerian Federation. Led by the charismatic Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the Eastern region made a momentous and desperate decision. On May 30th, 1967, they declared themselves a new independent nation, the Republic of Biafra. It was a defiant act, born not of ambition, but of a profound need for self-preservation and dignity. Biafra's motto, peace, unity, and freedom, encapsulated the aspirations of a people yearning for a safe haven. They envisioned a land where their lives, culture, and future would be secure, free from the persecution they had endured. It was a beacon of hope, however fragile, in the face of overwhelming despair. But peace was not to come. The federal government in Lagos swiftly declared the secession illegal, an act of rebellion that threatened the very existence of Nigeria. Diplomacy failed, and the drums of war began to beat. On July 6, 1967, the first shots were fired, igniting what would become known as the Nigerian Civil War. For the Igbo people, it was the Biafran War, a fight for survival, for their very right to exist. The conflict was framed by Nigeria as a battle for national unity, but for Biafra, it was a struggle against annihilation. The world watched, some with concern, many with indifference, as a brutal conflict unfolded. At first, Biafra fought with an astonishing courage born of desperation. Farmers became soldiers overnight, their hoes exchanged for rifles. Mothers became medics, tending to the wounded with makeshift supplies. Children, too young to fully grasp the horror, sang war songs, their innocent voices echoing a fierce belief that freedom was within reach. Their initial advances were remarkable, pushing deep into Nigerian territory. This early success was a testament to their unity and fierce determination. However, Nigeria was vast, powerful, and crucially, backed by major foreign powers who supplied arms and diplomatic support. The odds were stacked against the fledgling nation. Soon, the tide turned. The Nigerian army, with superior firepower and resources, began to encircle Biafra. A devastating blockade was imposed, cutting off all land, sea, and air routes. Food, medicine, and essential supplies ceased to flow into the besieged territory. This was a deliberate strategy, designed to starve Biafra into submission. For the first time, the world began to see images that would haunt humanity forever. Photographs and news reports showed children with distended bellies, hollow eyes, and skin stretched taut over their bones. Starvation became the deadliest weapon, claiming lives far more efficiently and cruelly than bullets. More than 1 million civilians, overwhelmingly Igbo, died not from direct combat, but from hunger and disease. Malnutrition ravaged the population, particularly the most vulnerable. Aid groups, witnessing the unfolding catastrophe, cried out, labeling it a genocide. Their pleas for intervention often fell on deaf ears. The international community's response was slow and often inadequate. While some brave individuals and organizations launched daring Biafran airlifts, flying food and medical supplies through the night, it was never enough. The sheer scale of the humanitarian crisis overwhelmed every effort, leaving countless to perish in silence. Still, the Igbo refused to surrender their spirit. In the face of relentless bombing and widespread hunger, their ingenuity shone through. Schools continued under trees, their lessons a defiant act of normalcy. Churches still sang hymns of hope, their faith unwavering amidst the devastation. Scientists and engineers, working with scraps and limited resources, built weapons, refined crude oil, and even developed communication systems. This remarkable ability to innovate under extreme duress became known as Biafran ingenuity. It was a testament to their indomitable spirit, a refusal to be defeated even when their land was dying. By January 1970, after almost 3 years of unimaginable suffering, Biafra could hold out no longer. The territory had shrunk to a fraction of its original size, its people decimated by famine and war. General Ojukwu, recognizing the inevitable, fled into exile, seeking to preserve the remnants of his people's leadership. The remaining Biafran leaders surrendered to Nigeria. The head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, famously declared, "No victor, no vanquished," a statement intended to foster reconciliation. But for the Igbo people, the end of the war brought only silence, grief, and the ruins of their dreams. The declaration of "no victor, no vanquished" rang hollow for the Igbo. Their cities lay in ruins, their infrastructure destroyed. The economic blow was devastating. Every bank account, regardless of its previous balance, was reset to a mere £20. This policy, ostensibly to rebuild unity, effectively wiped out the life savings of millions, plunging countless families into instant poverty. the psychological scars ran even deeper. A generation was traumatized by war, starvation, and loss. The sense of betrayal and abandonment lingered, a heavy shadow over their future. The world moved on, but for the Igbo, the war was far from over. Its consequences shaped every aspect of their lives for decades to come. And yet, somehow, they rose again. From the ashes of Biafra emerged a spirit stronger than before, tempered by fire and loss. The Igbo, known for their resilience and entrepreneurial drive, began the arduous task of rebuilding their lives from scratch. They had lost everything material, but their spirit remained unbroken. Igbo traders, with nothing but their wits and determination, rebuilt markets from nothing. Mechanics reopened workshops with bare hands, fixing what was broken. Students, despite the trauma, returned to schools, understanding that education was their path forward. Women, the backbone of their communities, started small businesses, feeding and educating their families against all odds. While the political landscape often left them marginalized, their sheer resilience carried them forward. They channeled their grief and anger into an unstoppable drive to succeed. Within decades, the Igbo became known once again as some of the most industrious and successful people in Africa, a testament to their unyielding determination. From the bustling markets of Aba and Onitsha to the global metropolises of Lagos and London, they built new lives, new businesses, and new communities. They turned despair into determination, transforming their collective trauma into a powerful engine for progress. Even when Nigeria seemed to forget them, they remembered themselves, their identity, and their inherent strength. Today, the story of Biafra remains painful, a wound that is not fully healed. But it is also a story of immense pride. It reminds the world that a people can be broken, but never truly destroyed. It teaches us that even after war, famine, and unimaginable loss, identity, culture, and the human spirit can not only survive, but flourish. Ask any Igbo elder, and they will tell you with quiet conviction, Biafra was not just a place. It was a dream, the dream of dignity, of self-determination, of a future free from fear. And though that dream was crushed by the brutal realities of war, its spirit still burns brightly. That spirit lives on in every Igbo entrepreneur who builds a business from nothing, in every scholar who pursues knowledge, in every artist who expresses their heritage, and in every child who dares to dream big. It is a flame passed down through generations, a reminder of what they endured and what they overcame. Because in the end, the lesson of the Nigerian Civil War is not just about division and conflict. It is a profound testament to resilience. It is about how a people who lost everything, their homes, their wealth, their loved ones, found the courage to begin again, to rebuild, and to thrive against all odds. The Igbo came out of the war with no victory parades, no medals, no heroes' monuments, but they carried something far greater, an unshakable belief that no matter how deep the wound, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity to heal, to adapt, and to rise again. And that truly is how the Igbo rose again. If you believe history should remember those who refused to vanish, those who turned tragedy into triumph, then join us. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories of Africa, its ancient kingdoms, its profound struggles, and its enduring strength. Because the past is not gone, it still speaks, and sometimes it roars.